Now then, looking at the charts you have been given with respect to the reality generation circuit, we have, of course, explained many times the idea of how you create reality through the prism of your personality. But this is a little bit more in-depth so that you can really follow the circuitry of energy and understand that as we describe this reality generation circuit is what is overlaid on top of the soul blueprint. So you bring through the crystallization of the soul blueprint, and in that crystallization process, you create the personality construct, which is represented by the triangles in the center of the reality generation circuit, and which is explained even in more detail on the sheet that just shows the two triangles by themselves. So that central triangle is the same triangle as on the other sheet that is represented by the balanced and imbalanced state. Is that clear to everyone? Yes. All right. So the idea is that this reality generation matrix, if you will, of energy, this configuration, vibration, this signature, template of energy is in a sense superimposed over the soul blueprint and allows the soul blueprint energy to filter through this personality matrix into the reality generation circuit. So the idea is that it comes up through, the soul blueprint is translated through the prism, which is, as we said, the idea of the beliefs and definitions, the thoughts and emotions, and the behaviors, the actions that you put out into the world. And this forms the three-sided prism of your personality. This then, in receiving from source your basic energy of existence, and from source the idea of your blueprint, your soul blueprint, you then put out this vibration in whatever combination the beliefs, emotions, thoughts, behaviors all work together in through the prism. Put that out as a vibrational energy, a projection, so to speak. That projection bounces off the mirror of all that is, which is the outer circle, and is reflected back to you. And thus then into the personality, a translation is made, an experience is created of that reflection, and that experience is given back to the source to add to the overall knowledge of all that is, the overall experience of all that is, and what is possible within all that is. But that experience then is fed back in, reinforcing the personality prism, which then creates another projection, which then gets another reflection, reinforcing that which was projected, which then creates another experience, which reinforces the personality, which goes back to source, which comes back to reinforce the personality again. So you see, it is this cyclic idea that once you establish what your personality is in terms of beliefs, emotions, and behaviors, that is constantly reinforced over and over and over again. And unless you yourself can get to the center of that prism by balancing the beliefs, the emotions, and the behaviors, it is difficult then, and has been difficult for you to tap into the fact, more directly back into the soul blueprint, to remember that this personality is not really who you are fundamentally, and that you always have a choice to short circuit that generation mechanism and start again with a new belief, a new idea, a new emotion, a new behavior, and create a new cycle in the reality generation circuit. Now, the reason it exists this way, and the reason it is so reinforcing in this way, is because if it were not built that way, if it were not structured that way, then you would not be able to experience fully any given belief. This is a deeper explanation of what we have said before when we talk about the fact that any particular definition or belief is always going to contain a self-reinforcing mechanism in order for you to understand that you have to have a full experience of that belief to the apparent exclusion of all other beliefs. And that's why sometimes you find it difficult to change your beliefs, because of this generational mechanism that reinforces whatever belief you originally focused on as being true. But now that we can illuminate the reality generation mechanism itself, and you can start to really see it in your mind as a circuit path, you can begin to also include the ability to short circuit that anytime you want by grounding yourself straight from the center of your personality prism right back down to the soul blueprint level, short circuit the effect, short circuit the belief, and come back up to the surface with a pause, a neutral state, and say, all right, wait a minute. Let's reinvent from the ground up. Let's take from the soul blueprint level where I know my themes and I know myself, and let's reconstruct the personality prism and bring it back into balance with belief, emotion, and behavior, and let a new generational energy follow that circuit and get reinforced rather than the one that no longer served me, rather than the one that was perhaps a little bit out of alignment with my fundamental soul blueprint, my basic self, my natural self, my fundamental true self. Because in the earth reality experience and in physical reality in general, because physical reality can only be experienced in a linear space-time framework, that's the definition of physical reality, linear space-time framework, because you have created an experience that involves space and time, this is why when you create the soul blueprint and then the personality overlay, time and space can actually cause these things to drift out of alignment over time. You follow me? In other words, the very idea that you have included the concept of space and time into the equation of your experience of life actually creates in the equation of your experience the possibility, the ability for you to get out of alignment with yourself. You see, on higher levels, there's no possibility of getting out of alignment with your true self, because we are not involved in the idea of as much space and time. But when you steep yourself deeply in a space-time matrix, then the very idea that you're dealing with space and time can actually become part of the equation to such a degree that it can actually have an effect on your ability to stay aligned with your true self. Because if there is space, you can get out of alignment over time. You see? So the idea is to make these circuitries in that sense that were invisible now visible to you, so that you can understand the equation you are creating, the circuitry you have been working with, so that you can understand why it has gotten out of alignment over time, and allow yourself, now that you know what equations you are working with, to bring it back into alignment. In other words, this is just teaching you how to use the actual structure of the reality you find yourselves in. You follow me? Anyone not clear about this idea? All right.
Would you just give an example of the projection reflection experience, that circuit with a concrete example that we might follow along with?
Well, projection and reflection really are nothing more than the idea what you get back. In other words, what you believe most strongly to be true is what you actually see reflected to you in your physical reality. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yes? Yes. That's what I mean by projection reflection. Now, it isn't always necessarily a one-to-one reflection in the sense of, well, if I see someone come into my life who is a very mean and vindictive person, that doesn't mean I am a mean, vindictive person, that I'm putting out mean, vindictive vibrations in order to attract a mean, vindictive person. It can mean that, but what it usually means is that the idea of what you put out creates the possibility, creates the probability, creates the space and the atmosphere into which such a person might come, so that you can get out of that interaction whatever it is you need to get out of it for your own purposes, for the exploration of your own theme. So it is still an issue of having projected and then gotten a reflection, but you have to determine what the reflection means for you. In other words, you have to put the meaning into the reflection that you prefer to have in order for you to get out of it what you prefer to get out of it. Does that make sense? But the kind of reflection you get is the kind that you needed to attract in order to give you the proper opportunity to do what you need to do with it. Make sense?
Or else it can go out of alignment.
Or else it can go out of alignment. And the idea is that misalignment itself is the product of the fact that you are dealing with a delay factor, that you're dealing with a time-space delay factor between the projection and the reflection. So that you don't know you've attracted it in that sense, because it seems to be coming to you autonomously. And you don't necessarily feel, in that sense, the idea that you yourself are out of alignment with your fundamental self because you don't remember it, because it's been so long since you felt connected to it. So space and time actually play a part in the equation of your inability often to see what is transparently before you in terms of what you're creating, because that factor itself places time and distance between the initiation and the manifestation. Does that make sense? Now, on one hand, the idea is that it is actually fundamentally very quick, very automatic. Obviously, if it were not, there would be gaps in your reality experience. Because in that sense, obviously, as soon as you put out, you do instantly get back. But what I am talking about, the delay factor is in your ability to recognize that that's what's happening. Because you are creating so many requirements of plugging in and so many requirements of needing an association. In other words, the mechanism is so overlaid by space-time equations that it is invisible to you and you can't understand your connection to it. You've buried the mechanism in a space-time matrix, and so you don't see the direct connection between you and the manifestation, even though it's happening instantaneously. You don't see it because your perceptual ability is slowed down by space-time. Not that the manifestation is slowed down, your perceptual ability of your relationship to the manifestation is slowed down. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone still not clear about this? Yes?
The other part of it, the experience and the creation, how does that fit in?
How does it fit in?
Yes.
In what sense?
Well, you said there was a whole loop.
Yes.
And I'm not seeing how it all fits.
How it all fits with what?
Well, you explained the projection reflection.
Yes.
Could you tie that into the experience, to source, and from source creation? How does creation?
Well, first of all, of course, you are created by source, yes?
Yes.
All right. That gives you your existence, yes?
Yes.
Within existence, you create the idea of your relationship to existence, yes? How you create your relationship to existence determines the experience of existence you have, yes?
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you with me?
My head's been a little spinning. So.
Oh, all right. How you define your relationship to existence creates your experience of existence. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So your experience is directly related to how you define your relationship to existence. That's another way of saying that. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So once you have then the experience is then reflected back to source to add to source's perception of itself and what it is capable of providing as experiences to all of the pieces source has created itself to be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the loop. Does that make sense then? Mm-hmm. Does that clarify what you were asking?
Mm-hmm.
You're sure?
Yeah, I was going to add one more thing.
Yes.
When you want to kind of reground yourself, you're saying go back to your blueprint. Why not just go right back to source?
You could, and that's fine. And perhaps that might actually be one of the better ways to do that. But eventually, in order to actually have an experience, you will have to come back from source through the blueprint anyway. So in a sense, that's what we mean by going back to the blueprint. Yes, you can connect all the way back to source, but you have to come back through the blueprint to reconnect to your personality construct in order to have another experience. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you. In this idea of the reality generation circuit, let's have a small meditation to lock this in. Anchor this in as it connects and relates to the idea of the soul blueprint. Become comfortable as you believe it is possible to become. And remember, during this meditation, You do not need to exclude anything, any sound, any feeling, any sight, any smell. Include everything as part of it. It all belongs, otherwise it wouldn't be. Invite everything in. Leave nothing out. Let its energy add to the energy that drives you deeper and deeper and deeper into the meditation and into an understanding of what is being delivered here today. View, if you will, infinite and empty black space. Endless, endless, endless black space. No stars, no light. You are floating in emptiness. And it isn't even you in terms of your body, just your awareness. Everywhere your awareness turns, everywhere your awareness looks, empty, empty, empty black. Until you spot within yourself one bright spark of light. Like a tiny, tiny, tiny star floating in the infinite blackness. Just one. Just the one that you are in the center of your consciousness. Even though it is in the center of yourself, you can still see it as if it were in some senses outside you. As if you were looking in on yourself. Yet it is in the center of yourself. This is your first relationship and connection to Source and all that is. And from this, the light expands and expands and expands and expands until it fills all of the space with whiteness, bright light, beautiful light. Until there is nothing but the light, and you are in the center of it. And then, in that center, a small spot of dark, like a little black hole. In the center of all the infinite light, a small black speck floating in the center of your being. And you know that if you look into that speck, you will see the infinite darkness that you experienced a moment ago. But you know that if you look into that infinite darkness at the very center, you will also see another spark of light. And if you look into that, you will see infinite lightness that you are experiencing now. But you know at the center of that will also be a speck of dark. On and on and on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever without end will always be the darkness and the lightness and the dark. One feeding into another, one expanding from the other, one giving birth to the other, and without the other, neither exists. For you cannot know one without that you know the other. For without the other, there is not the knowledge that another exists. So to have one, you must have the two. Dark and light, light and dark, extend from one and the same creation. They are source. They are all that is. All that is. This light and dark, one unto the other forever, thus then creates patterns within itself. Patterns within patterns within patterns of darkness and light, lightness and dark, patterns and patterns and patterns, filling itself infinitely with patterns of light and dark in a variety of shapes, sizes, configurations, extents, distances, times. Light and dark, vibration upon vibration upon vibration, like ripples in a pond, overlapping, 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 until there is nothing but small vibrations everywhere of light and dark. And out of this sea of seething back and forth polarization energy, certain facets start to crystallize and become self-aware, reflective consciousnesses, miniature versions of all that is, infinite unto themselves and yet finite compared to the infinite. Again, infinity containing finiteness and the concept of finiteness extending to infinity. More and more crystallizations until the entirety is crystallized, but full of small crystallizations, autonomous unto themselves. Each of these crystallizations is made up of a signature of many vibrations. It is a soul blueprint, each unique, different, and each looking into the center of itself creates a window, a prism, a triangle, a tetrahedron in its very center of space-time. 3 positions of space, 1 of time, the tetrahedron, 4th dimensional structure, through which, like an eye, it peers into an unbelievable experience of the reality of all that is in 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, and projects itself through that window, creates a personality construct to hold itself, contain itself, identify itself as a vehicle for traveling in that type of space, in that type of reality. Each personality being like unto its own time-space ship, in which the consciousness can project, in which the consciousness can ride and experience that reality, much like a diving bell experiences the deep blue sea. That personality construct is created from the definition of it, the feeling of it, the behavior of it. And thus then, the quality of those things determine the quality of the view you get through the windows in each of those sides. The more clear and balanced the definitions and beliefs, the more clear and balanced the emotions and thoughts, the more clear and balanced and in alignment the behaviors. The clearer the view, the more transparent the view of the reality you are exploring in space-time. And then you encounter a whirlpool, a current, an eddy, a seismic event, a ripple, a tidal wave, something that throws you off course. And you go spinning off into the depths of the dark, dark ocean, all the way down to the blackness, all the way down, until you come to rest on the cold, hard ocean floor of physical reality. And you lie there for a moment, stunned, beset upon by great pressure of the water and energy above you, holding you down, holding you down, holding you down. And you do your best to move, and all you can do is crawl along the ocean floor with the great pressure on your back. And you vaguely remember what it was like to swim free, what it was like to move up or down, left or right, forward and back, what it was like to see the light high above you as you crawl through the sediment of ages past, through the history of the rocks and the beginning of time. And you crawl, and you crawl, and you crawl in the darkness for a long, long time. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to realize that you are crawling up a slightly inclined slope, slightly upward, so slight you almost didn't recognize, because it is still so dark There is no relative way to tell, but you can feel the difference in angle. The angle is different. Your head is once more slightly elevated, slightly pointed back up. You still cannot see the light, but you know it's up there somewhere. And so you keep crawling and keep crawling, upward, upward, upward. And the slope is long and shallow, and it seems to be taking forever and ever, and there still is no light. No light. No light. And as you keep crawling and keep crawling and keep crawling, suddenly your eyes adjust and you realize it's not quite so dark anymore. It is now shades of gray. And you allow the gray in to feed you information, to remind you of the brilliance of the light, even though this is a pale comparison. It reminds you and feeds you and inspires you and spurs you to keep going, to keep climbing, to keep climbing, to keep climbing. And the slope bends upward, more abruptly, more abruptly, more abruptly. And you begin to feel some of the weight being lifted, the pressure, the load lightening up. And a little more light leaks through, and a little more light leaks through, and now you can see you are not alone. There are others all around you crawling up the slope with you. And you realize you were never really alone. But just so in the dark you could not see that you had company. And upward you go, and upward you go, and upward you go. And pretty soon it's lighter and brighter and lighter and brighter. And now you're not crawling anymore. You're starting to swim a little bit. You still sink down a little bit to the slope, but you can push off and float for a while. Push off and float up. Push off and float up and up and up and up. Until your feet are only barely touching the slope. And you are starting to stand. And your head is high. And now you can see others around you, not only of your own kind, but all sorts of life, floating up with you, inviting you higher, higher. And there is beautiful, beautiful light and music coming from the surface, above the surface. And you float up and up and up. No longer caring what the slope of the floor is, for now you are free of it. And you float upward and upward and upward. And now the light is getting bright and brighter and brighter, and so bright you almost have to squint. But soon you get used to it. It is shimmering, iridescent, sparkling, beautiful, alluring, inviting. And in one breathtaking splash, you break the surface and can see the infinite expanse of the ocean all around you, and all the others bobbing up and down in the sea, looking around, blinking their eyes awake, moving from one density to another, their heads poking up into the air, breathing the air again, the cool, fresh air, filling your lungs, invigorating, inspiring, energizing you. And to the point where you begin to rise higher and higher and higher in the ocean until you actually rise above the water, floating above the water, rising into the sky, higher and higher and higher, into the clouds, through the clouds, above the clouds. And you look down below you and see the beautiful blue ocean and the swirling white clouds. And you rise higher and higher and higher and look toward the sun, the bright star of your solar system, and move toward it. But all around you now is blackness and other stars. You are in space. And you look down upon your beautiful globe, your beautiful earth. And you remember the long path You remember diving down, wanting to play, wanting to explore, wanting to investigate. And you remember the unexpected eddy, the unexpected current, the unexpected whirlpool that drug you down to the ocean floor. And you remember being down there for a long, long time. But then you remember crawling, and then you remember walking, and then you remember climbing, and then you remember rising, and then you remember being back up here above the clouds, back up in space, moving toward the sun as it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and moving into the sun, into the heart of the light, the bright, fiery light, into the heart of creation. And the light is bright, but it does not burn. It supports and sustains, and it is what you are made of. And you look back from the sun, from the light of all that is, to the earth, and you remember it as a journey, as a treasured path, as an experience never to be forgotten and always to be cherished. And you are now of the stars. You are the stars themselves that give birth and life to the various planets upon which many such journeys are possible. And you marvel at the myriad possibilities within creation, the infinite number of journeys that have been taken by a variety of versions of you, simultaneously, side by side, across the gulfs of space, time, and dimensionality, going on multiple journeys, infinite multiple journeys simultaneously, and collecting yourself back into the oversoul that is the star of many systems, that is the light of consciousness of many dimensions, and to the source of all that is. Your oversoul rises with other oversouls, each oversoul containing multiple millions of lifetimes, and each oversoul rising together to blend into the one, the all that is. Each experience fully remembered, fully retained, and yet also simultaneously harmonized, harmonized, harmonized with the one. This is your natural state of being. This is who you are. And the soul blueprint is but a reminder of this connection. It is but an echo of this connection. Yet through it, your personality can always be reminded by listening to the clear tone, the clear chord, the clear ringing of the bell that reminds you that whenever you are having difficulty and doubt, whenever you are in trouble, come home, come home, come home. You can always leave again. And you can always come back. Back and forth. Back and forth. Lubricating the path, gliding from the personality to the soul blueprint, to the source, to the soul blueprint, to the personality, to the multiple lives, back to the source. Any direction you wish, any way you wish, any when you wish. Take a deep breath in and lock this certainty in. Lock it in. It is who you are. And understand that you are now changed. And that the personality you were, the personality that came to this transmission, is not the personality who will leave this transmission. And this is a different transmission, on a different world, on a different day, in a different place. And that what began is another place and time from where you are now and who you are now. Breathe deep and know the certainty of who you are. Incorporate this vibration in every cell of your being. Take the time you have made. Take the time you are making to express that which is you as fully as you can. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes if they are closed. And connect to a new reality, a bubble reality, that is not the same world that was here before, not the same person that was here before. Let go, let go, let go. And connect into the new you. One more deep breath with your eyes open. Feeling clear, clean, fresh, and transparent. A real say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, now, first and foremost, allow us once again to thank each and every one of you, and all of you together collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction. Once again, each and every time you are willing to co-create these interactions with us, it forms a bridge, a link, and a connection between our reality and yours, so that we can, together, more and more every day in every way, create a third new reality in which we can both interact in new ways. So we thank you for the gift that you have given to us of sharing. We would like to begin this idea, this transmission, this night of your time, by discussing something that we have labeled debunking the debunkers, talking about the gullible, the skeptical, the cynical. The idea has been expressed many times on your planet that there are unusual phenomenology that occur from time to time that many individuals on your planet either do believe or do not believe are occurring. Obviously, there are certain things that are perhaps misinterpretations of certain things. This can happen, obviously. Not every single thing that someone may think is a certain thing is a certain thing. Nevertheless, the idea of finding balance within your investigations and your relation to the idea of unusual phenomenon in your world is one that requires a clear, concise approach to remain in balance. And the idea is that what you call being skeptical is in and of itself a natural, healthy point of view, especially for your world, where there are so many deceptions that may occur on your planet, so many different agendas that may occur, and that individuals may wish to take advantage of others. Therefore, remaining skeptical can, in your world, be a healthy thing to do. However, the idea is that skepticism, by definition, is an open-minded state of a willingness to explore something, a willingness to look at what you call evidence, a willingness to understand your relationship to it, your personal relationship to it, and a willingness to allow for a new belief to come in, to challenge the old belief you may have been holding on to. Not the idea that you must change your belief, but a willingness to allow for the possibility that your beliefs, be they long held or cherished, may nevertheless require some change. The idea, of course, is that on polar opposite sides of the balance point of skepticism are the issues of gullibility and cynicism. We have said once before that cynicism, the formula for cynicism is CIA. Cynicism equals ignorance plus arrogance. Now, the understanding is that, unlike the idea of open-minded skepticism, where you are willing to investigate, willing to take in new information, open to the possibility of changing your point of view, cynicism is that which has its mind made up, has a belief system and an agenda totally intact, and is unwilling to change. The idea being, therefore, that cynicism dismisses any new ideas that may challenge the paradigm that exists within. Gullibility, for most of you, means being open to accepting just about anything without any kind of filtration system, without any kind of discernment. The idea, however, is to recognize a fascinating fact about the polar opposites of gullibility and cynicism. They are not polar opposites. They are different versions of the same thing. Gullibility also has cynicism within it. Cynicism also contains a great degree of gullibility. Allow us to explain. The fundamental similarity between gullibility and cynicism is the same issue. I believe what I believe, and nothing will change that despite any evidence to the contrary. The gullible, in accepting everything without any kind of discernment, are actually saying the same thing. I have a belief system that I do not want to change no matter what. It's the same thing that the cynics say. I have a belief system I do not want to change no matter what. The gullibility inherent in cynicism is this. When a cynic often looks at the so-called evidence that may be brought before one, many times the cynic, while thinking that they are actually investigating the true evidence, the true story, may simply be gullibly accepting the folk tale and using that and dismissing that as if they are dismissing true scientific evidence, when in fact all they're doing is saying the folk tale may not be actually representative of what's actually going on, and therefore because the folk tale is not true, the reality must also not exist. And so by saying that, by approaching it that way, the cynic has actually gullibly swallowed the general folk tale that has been put forth by individuals who may in fact be gullible. So in that sense, the gullible and the cynical have a connected relationship, a marriage of sorts, and they feed off each other, all pushing away from each other in that sense, leaving the idea of skepticism in the center. So all we are basically suggesting here is that you, in your investigation of anything that you may hear that seems unusual in your world, allow yourselves to remain in the center, in balance with your investigation as to whether or not it means something to you, whether or not it ought to be incorporated into your belief system structure, whether or not it really serves you in a positive, beneficial way, and allow yourself to maintain a sense of discernment as to what is and what is not appropriate for you. Now, of course, we understand there are many different points of view, many different belief systems, and for each and every individual, whatever belief system they are holding to be true for themselves at any given moment is true for them at that moment, even if it seems contradictory to another. But the only reason we are discussing the issues of gullibility and cynicism in this context is because very often the idea of those who are gullible and accept everything and those who are cynical and accept nothing often attempt to push that point of view on others. So if you are going to have a particular point of view that you believe is contradictory to anyone else's point of view, by all means, you are entitled to create that for yourself. But understand, you are not entitled to create that for anyone else. The idea is that each and every single one of you have the power, have the given gift to decide what is true for you, but do not have the ability to decide what is true for anyone else. Therefore, in the idea of accepting what is true for you as being all well and good, the idea, therefore, of communicating it to another is where the idea of balanced skepticism comes into play, in that when you transmit information that you may feel is true for you and would never likely change, the idea of sharing that to be balanced always comes with the allowance that whoever you are sharing that point of view with does not in any way, shape, or form need to believe you. And that's not what it's about. Sharing the idea of a point of view is an opportunity to give someone an option to consider another idea, another belief, another point of view. But it is only an option. It is only a sharing. It is only an opportunity to decide for themselves whether your point of view works for them, whether it's something they can form a consensus agreement upon. But no one really needs to do that. In fact, as we have stressed several times, none of you even need to believe anything we have just said. This is our point of view. This is our perspective. This is our understanding from our civilization based on our experience, our evolution, and what works for us. Now, yes, it is true. There are some general consensus ideas and beliefs that are common to almost everyone on your planet. These are the things you have already created a consensus agreement about that are put on, shall we say, automatic pilot, so you don't have to really think about them day to day. You can get on about the business of simply living your life without having to think about the idea of whether gravity is suddenly going to cancel on you. That's a consensus agreement that there is such a thing as gravity. Nevertheless, obviously, in this day and age of exploring consciousness and beginning to realize that physical reality is only an illusion and that you create whatever you are experiencing it to be, many individuals are beginning to explore and examine the possibility that gravity may not necessarily be such a given, that solidity may not necessarily be so solid, that things are malleable, that space-time can be flexible, stretched, bent, altered, and experienced in a new way. And the more you allow your vibrations to focus on these things, the more you will synchronistically experience the results of that point of view, of course, because this is the general consensus you have all agreed to explore, especially in this lifetime, the idea of the expansion of consciousness, which then brings the realization that physical reality is nothing but your game, your creation, your illusion, your experience. Physical reality itself, as we have said several times, is not unto itself a real, solid thing outside you. The experience of physical reality is real, but not the physical reality itself. It's just a mirror. Nevertheless, you have, to a great degree, created some consensus reality. But as that changes for several individuals, as there is created new points of view, and as there is consensus even among small groups about different points of view from the general consensus, new bubble realities are thus then created within the overall consensus agreement. As time goes on, as you proceed in your investigation of things that have historically been considered unusual, unbelievable, unreal, and start to find out that many of them in fact are real, are very believable, are in fact extremely experienceable by each and every one of you, you will thus then imbue the general consensus reality with more and more vibrations that are representative of more people's ability to see some of those unusual things actually come to pass, come to fruition, become more concrete, more stable, more experiential. That will happen over the course of time as you create time to exist. But nevertheless, in this transitional timing that's going on now on your planet, when each and every one of you are really busy about the experience of deciding what is true for you and what kind of a reality you really wish to experience your life to be, as you redefine yourselves, find out what you have been labeling things as and change those labels to suit the idea of your true, natural, joyful selves, which is available to you all without exception. As you go through this process, all that we are suggesting to you that has worked for us is that you allow yourself to be open to the possibility that as you adopt new beliefs, that those beliefs in and of themselves are no more capable of becoming concrete than you wish them to be, and that they themselves are always open to change as you gain new understanding and new perspectives of yourself as an aspect of creation. So, if you wish to experience the idea of gullibility and accept everything, as you say, willy-nilly, That's your choice. But it will allow you to take a longer time to create for yourself the ability to discern what actually works best for you and what does not. If you wish to create the idea of a cynical point of view, be our guest. You are entitled to create that if you wish. But again, from our experience, we simply caution you that it will allow you to create more time in which to create the reality of your preference. Only the balance point is the thing from our experience that allows you to create the reality you prefer in an ever-flexible, ever-changing, rapidly accelerating manner. So it's up to you to decide what you prefer. Doing it slowly, doing it quickly, doing it in between at a pace that is comfortable for you. It's up to you. But recognize simply that all of it is your creation, all of it, and that every point of view is valid, but there are always consequences to the choices you make, mechanically speaking. Of course, many of you understand that when we say consequences, we are not discussing the issue of punishment or anything like the idea of negative judgment. We are simply talking physics, mechanically. There is always a reaction to every action. And therefore, it's about gaining more discernment about what the consequences are mechanically for every action that you take, for every stance that you take, for every state of being you choose to be in. The idea, therefore, is to allow yourselves to recognize that you can make choices that will determine what kind of experience you have. And if you are not enjoying the experience you are having, you can allow that to change by making different choices. It's really as simple as that. I know that for many of you it doesn't seem to be that easy because you have a difficult time figuring out how to get in touch with what choices you're already making that are creating the experiences you say you don't want. But nevertheless, it's actually a relatively simple thing to do. All you have to do is get in touch with the thing that you are using to define, the label you are using to define any particular experience that you are having. And once you get a handle, as you say, once you make transparent the label you have been using, whether consciously or unconsciously, to define the reality that you are experiencing, it will become clear why you have been experiencing the things that you have. Because as you label a thing, so thus then does the consequence issue therefrom and give you that experience. What you put out is what you get back, as we have said many times and call the third law of creation. Therefore, balance is the key, literally, that will unlock all perspectives to you and give you the discernment to decide. Even if it's through the auspices of figuring out what you are not, to decide what it is you truly prefer to be. Many people on your planet will take that route. They will explore many things. They will find that it will allow certain kinds of negative experiences to happen in their lives, but that may simply be their way of exploring what they are not to more clearly define what they are. And when you choose to go from the darkness to the light, in that sense, when you choose to balance yourself out, then by having gone into the darkness to define what you are not, it may be that much simpler for you to define what you are and that much easier to go into the light and create realities of your preferential choice that are in alignment with your true core self. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes.
All right. So, the idea, therefore, to simply sum up the issue of debunking the debunkers is to pay attention to the fact that when individuals seek to debunk, they are often themselves simply afraid to look at new ideas, new things. When an individual is also gullible enough to accept everything without discernment, it is also the same issue. They are afraid to see something else that they think will be something unacceptable, something distasteful, something to be feared. You may have that experience, but none of it is empirically true. There is nothing to fear in anything that you will discover. Every single thing you will investigate, every single thing, the deepest fear, the greatest joy, every single thing that you will investigate, you will always, I guarantee you, discover simply more of yourself, more of your true core being. because that's all there is to discover. However, as we said, you do not need to take our word for it. We know it works from our experience, and many of you know it works from your experience. All of you have the ability to experience it for yourself, and we will leave it up to you to choose to do so if you wish. I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. We will begin this transmission this day of your time in the following way. We would like to cover 3 distinct ideas this day of your time. Number 1 will be somewhat of what you would call a political idea. Number 2 will be a somewhat unusual meditation called the paradox meditation. And number 3 will be our interaction with questions and suggestions. We will not say answers, we will say suggestions. For we do not have answers for you so much as ideas and suggestions for how you can find the answers yourself. Now, let us begin with the following idea. We have discussed with you a few times before the concept of contact between various extraterrestrial civilizations and your own. And certainly, as your years go by, we are coming closer and closer to the time when such contact can occur openly. We have, in past transmissions, talked about the notion that by your year 2015, that the majority of people on your planet will be, as we read it, aware of the existence of extraterrestrials. Now, this can still happen in a number of ways. We are not saying that open contact will happen by 2015, just that the majority of people on your planet will be aware of the existence of extraterrestrials, such as myself and others. But toward the idea of accelerating open contact, we would like, at this time, to propose an activity, if we may. May we? Are you sure? Want to make sure that you actually want contact with us? All right. So then, remember that this contact is not in any way, shape, or form because we will solve your problems, but because you have accelerated your energy to the level at which you begin to understand your ability to create the reality you desire, your ability to see yourselves as equals to all beings in creation. It'll be the result of that. And any acceleration will occur because of that, because of your actions, your involvement, your participation, your responsibility, because it is your planet. And up to this point, our civilization and other civilizations have taken, as you would say, an arm's distance approach, not becoming involved in certain aspects of your society because it is your world and we cannot interfere. However, now you have made enough shifts in your own vibrational energy that we can begin to suggest some courses of action to accelerate the idea of open contact. And so, since we are now allowed to, by the difference in your energy, we will do so, if you are ready to participate. It will require your participation. And here is what you would call the window of opportunity. Between your upcoming year that you call 2005 and your year that you call 2012, will be the 7-year window for what we are about to suggest to be accomplished by you. It is a 7-year project. You can make it happen sooner. It's up to you. But as we read the energy now, it is all right if it takes 7 of your years. All right? All right. Now, some of you are aware that there exists now in what you call your laws, your federal regulations, a law called the Extraterrestrial Exposure Law. If you are familiar with this, you will understand that what it says in general, very broadly, is that if you should come into contact with a life form of any kind from off of your world, you are subject to quarantine, fine, and imprisonment. You may look it up if you wish. Title 14, Section 1211 of the Federal Regulations of your country. It was ostensibly created for the idea of preventing exposure to what you would call virulent alien organisms, pathogens, and such. This was implemented in your year of 1969 when you landed on your moon. But the idea was stated broadly enough, with intention behind it, that it wasn't just relegated to the idea of pathogens, but to any extraterrestrial life form whatsoever. So should there even then be an opportunity for contact between any of you and any of us, you would be then subjected by your own laws to fines and imprisonment and quarantine. Now then, since we deem that you would probably find this relatively unpleasant, we have stayed away, for the most part. There are, of course, a few civilizations that have had sporadic contact with individuals on your planet from time to time. We will not go into the details of those specific cases now. We are addressing the idea of broad contact, open contact. That which in that sense is acknowledged and welcomed by the majority of the people on your planet. So here is your project. Either and or to alter the extraterrestrial exposure law so that it does not in any way create a punitive action for contact with extraterrestrial life, but more importantly, that you create a new law, an open contact law, that each and every one of you, so willing, begin from this day forward to get together, research, investigate, learn, teach yourselves, educate yourselves, and actually form the law itself. Write it up, either as one of your initiatives or a bill, and get it passed by your government. That you will allow, acknowledge, and approve of open contact between your world and extraterrestrials who have announced peaceful intentions of interaction with you. In this way, when you create this law, have it officially backed, and get not only your country, but as many nations on your planet to sign on and adopt this law as possible by 2012, it will go a long way toward accelerating our ability to have open contact with you. For the idea is that we must respect the laws that exist on your planet because you have decided that those are the laws you will abide by. And so if you are capable from 2005 to 2012 of creating an open contact law and getting the majority of people on your planet, the majority of nations on your planet to adopt, to sign on, to acknowledge and accept this law of open contact for all extraterrestrials seeking open, peaceful contact with you. That will actually open the door for such contact because you, the majority of you on your world, will have said that it is all right to do so. And that will make all the difference in your world, in our ability to interact more and more openly with you. Then, once that door has been opened, the only criteria remaining that will determine the rate at which contact can then occur will simply be the rate at which each and every one of you gets in touch with your own fears, misgivings, trepidations, hesitations, and doubts about such contact and what it might mean for you personally, what it might mean for you collectively. But then at least you will have dropped one barrier to such contact, one very important barrier that we must abide by, which is the rules you have deemed are the laws of your world. Is this clear to you? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to create such an open contact law? Are you willing to word it? Are you willing to finesse it? Are you willing to work together? Are you willing to collect the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of signatures required for this law to pass in each nation that is willing to pass it?
Yes.
I can't hear you. You do not have to be. We are not saying you must do this. It's your planet, not ours. It's up to you. But now, from this day forward, you can play an active, hands-on role in determining when such open contact is possible. You can be involved in this now. It's not any longer out of your hands. It's squarely in your hands as well as in ours. Those of us who have hands anyway. But it is up to you. We are placing this responsibility, this challenge in your lap. Work together. We will, at the very least, check in with you in this manner once a year at least to see how you are progressing. And we will add guidance. We will tell you how things are changing because of what you have done. We will keep you apprised of the shift in energy. But you yourself will be able to feel that with your enthusiasm, with your involvement, with your participation. Hands-on, doing, acting, creating, formulating, passionate about it if you are. Show it, do it. Now then, if 100 of you get 100 signatures each, and each of them get 100 signatures each, look how fast it will grow. Perhaps you will beat the 2012 deadline by many, many years. It's up to you. But I guarantee you this. When you have the majority of your people acknowledging and accepting and approving of open contact when and where it should occur in a peaceful manner, it can be general in that sense. Obviously, you cannot make it too specific because you don't necessarily know who open contact is going to happen with first or second or third. But the idea of being willing, you don't even have to necessarily get people to believe that extraterrestrials are talking to you, are visiting you. Just when and where it might happen someday, The idea is to be ready and willing and able to interact without fear of quarantine, punishment, fines, and so forth. Just the expression that you are willing to allow such a thing to occur in an open, constructive, positive, and peaceful manner will be enough to get a very, very, very large ball rolling. Then we will take it from there. This is the first step of truly working together. This is the first step of honoring your place as a member of the Association of Worlds. Be that it may be honorary at the moment, but eventually one day, in fact. If you will do this, and it is up to you, you will make that day accelerate, and it will be here before you know it. Thank you. We will now introduce something which is, in our experience, always introduced to a civilization at this point, the paradox meditation. This is going hand in hand with what we have just suggested that you do. It will help clear your mind for the task ahead. It will help center and align you. Help you envision clearly what you must do. Help you attract synchronicity into your lives in the way that is necessary for you to accomplish this idea. This is a very unusual meditation. Ride with it. Don't be afraid. Just ride with it. You are safe. Let happen what will happen. And use it if you wish, if you can, whenever you wish. You don't have to. It will be enough that we give you this day of your time and instill this vibration in you. If you just remember that we did this, the vibration will return and keep you on course. And it will do many other things as well that we're not going to tell you about right now. But you will see and you will know them when they occur, and will know them as part of what this meditation triggered within you. So relax. Close your eyes if you wish. Take a deep breath. Get comfortable. And just pay attention. That's all you have to do. Just pay close attention. Pay close attention. Very, very close attention. Pay attention to what I am saying, but do not listen to my words. Do not listen to my words. Pay close attention to what I am saying, but do not listen to my words. I may be lying, but you know I am not. Pay close attention. Do not listen to the words. Feel any fear come up within you. Any fear at all. Feel it. Let it come. Let it come. Let it come. And be joyful at its presence. Feel it. See it. Any fear of anything, any fear of anyone, any fear of any idea, let it grow. Feel it. Do not ignore it. But experience it with calm, reserved detachment. While you feel it, feel the hot, burning fear, but encased in icy calm. Feel the cold, sharp, jagged, cutting fear, but warmed by the glow of the sun, melting away, becoming hotter and hotter as it turns into the burning, consuming fear that is cooled by icy calm. Pay close attention to my words, but do not listen to a thing I say. Pay no attention to what is being said, but know everything that needs to be said. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. All day long, you will be no one but yourself. All night long, you will be everyone but you. And you will find in your confusion great clarity. Fog, the thickest fog imaginable. You can see nothing, not even your hand in front of your face. Deep, thick, gray fog. The sharpest, crystal clear night full of brilliant, bright stars. The sharpest, crystal clear night you can imagine. Fog, a wall of fog. The clearest, crystalline night, the brightest burning stars. Pay attention to everything I say, every word, as sharply as you can. Pay attention. Pay attention. You will miss it if you don't pay attention. Do not listen to my words. Do not listen to my words. Pay attention. Pay attention. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. And yet, I am. All of you. All of you. All of you. None of you. None of you. None of you. You are the only one. You are the only one. You are everyone. Pay attention. Pay attention. Here it comes. Pay attention. You missed it. You missed it. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone forever. 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 It's gone. You missed it. Pay attention. I may be lying, but you know I'm not, because you got it. You have it. It's yours. You never lost it, never needed to find it. It was always with you and always will be. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. Pay attention and let go. Let go. Surrender. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. It is not worth it. Whatever you think it isn't worth it. It's not worth the pain. It's not worth the sorrow. It's not worth the doubt. It's not worth the fear. But you are here by choice, and so you know that what you are is worth anything you have experienced. It's all worth it. It's all worth it because it brought you here, to this moment, here and now. Pay attention. Pay attention. And then realize you do not have to pay attention. Attention is free. You have it. Just be aware of what it is you are. What it is you're really all about. What it is you are. Then let it go. And it will stay. always and forever and never. Fog and crystal clarity, one and the same, aspects of the same. You are the fog, or you are the crystal clarity. The choice is yours. Choose. Every moment, choose. For every moment is itself a choice. You do not experience moments but that you choose to. They do not come unbidden. They do not come from nowhere. They come from you. You are the moments of your life. You are the moments of your life. Decide what they shall be. Fog or crystal clarity. The choice is made. Every moment. Pay attention. Do not listen to my words. Feel the joy. Feel the passion you know has always been there, but was lost in the fog. You are the fog. Clear up. Crystal clarity. The choice is still there. You are still there. Always have been, always will be. The power is always in paradox. When two things seem to contradict, that's when you know you are standing squarely at the center of your power. For both apparent contradictions come from you. Realize this, and you are free. Take a deep breath and let it out. These are not just words. Take a deep breath and let it out. I have just said nothing. Take a deep breath and hold it, hold it, hold it forever. And let it out. And let it out. And let it go forever. It isn't worth it. Only you are. And you are priceless. We thank you for allowing us to share this meditation with you. You may open your eyes if you wish, or not. It is up to you.
Let me say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. We will once again greet every single one of you individually and collectively, and we will begin this phase of this transmission with the following idea. First of all, whether or not it were true that all of you have already channeled in some way, shape, or form, it is still a very easy thing to do. And in a sense, we could really teach you, anyone, whether they feel they've done it before or not, to channel in about 5 of your minutes. That's all it really takes. But we will do this after about a couple of hours of information. Then we will teach you to channel in 5 minutes. Now, first and foremost, we will address a scale of approach to this. We will start, as you would say, typically in a sense at the bottom, and move to the top, accelerating upward. So, let us begin a little bit with the idea that has already been discussed by the channel regarding the personality fragmentation, and let us involve ourselves in an exercise that will allow for a little bit of reintegration of this, just to start us off. So make yourselves comfortable, close your eyes if you wish, and begin to breathe in a relaxed and easy manner. In and out. In and out. In and out. And as you allow yourself to maintain this deep rhythmic breathing at whatever pace is comfortable for you, remember also once again that anything I may suggest to you will simply be a suggestion. Do the best you can. Allow, however, your imagination to guide you and change whatever it needs to change in terms of symbology in any of these meditational exercises so that it works for you. Trust that your imagination is key to who you are, and it will make the change according to what will work best. So first and foremost, allow yourself to imagine, in your mind's eye, however this works for you, the idea or the picture or even the sound of emptiness, of empty space, black, a void, nothing, nothing, nothing. Now into that nothingness, begin by seeing at whatever you deem to be its very center a bright spark of light like a star. This is you, the real you. Now, see, imagine, feel, be this bright spark shattering into 1,000 brilliant fireflies of light, flitting about, filling this black void like the stars of the cosmos, a stellar panorama of fragmented, reflecting shards of a single source of light. Little flickers of candle flame in the darkness. Little bright spots of light. Little eyes from different dimensions of awareness. Little beings, different awarenesses, different personalities, different experiences, different ideas and points of view and perspectives. All the friends you have created yourself to be within yourself, to yourself. All of the ideas of the child self, the parent self, the friend self, the brother, sister self. All aspects and fragments of the concept of whatever it means to be an intelligence, a sentience, an aware being. Each one of these is one such component. Some of them have experienced what you would call pleasurable things. Some of them have experienced great depths of pain and suffering. Some of them have not been allowed to express who and what they are, while others have been given free rein to voice themselves as they wish. Whatever that experience may be, now, allow yourself to acknowledge the existence of all of them. Each is valid, each is beautiful, each is relevant and plays a part. Each is a note in the entire song and orchestration of your existence. Without invalidating the individuality, imagine them all now in perfect harmonic vibration with one another. A beautiful, resonant, choir-like chord. One beautiful, ringing chord of self-acceptance and integration. For remember, integration is not the dissolving of the individual components. It is the allowance of each component to be strongly validated and the allowance of clear communication to exist among all the components so that each plays its proper part, instead of doing more than it was designed to do and taking the burden of extra weight upon its little shoulders. They all now let go of that which does not belong to them and give it back to the other components to which it does belong. Exchanging now the gifts that they have given each other, that they may have in their ancient definitions assumed they had to undertake, which now they give back to their rightful owners and rightful place. The talents of each unto each. Feel the cool green clarity, the sharp emerald clarity of your mentality. Green. Your mind is relaxing into the green, relaxing into the grass and trees of nature. Relaxing. And as you feel yourself surrounded by the cool grasses and green energy, imagine now, bring into focus, if you will, the crystalline blue vibration of electromagnetic light, the blue essence of liquid light. Feel that blue soothing your spirit, the air, the water, light, fluid, your spirit, your soul. Feel it flowing, cooling, icy, refreshing, bracing throughout your body. The beautiful blue vibration of the higher realms of the mountain tops, of the threshold of air and space. The crystal clarity of the blue vibration, sending your spirit soaring, light upon the air, light among the clouds, the blue-white light. Allow yourself to feel relaxed in body, mind, and spirit, floating freely, comfortably, beautifully, loving yourself, trusting yourself, being at ease with who and what you are, and feeling the red, green, and blue merging into the beautiful, radiant, white light of your total being that knows itself and knows what knowing feels like and has conviction that everything is all right, that everything is perfect, that you are exactly made in the image of the infinite. A facet, clear crystal facet, reflecting that white light, and at the same time, as a prism, breaking down that white light into the multi-hued spectrum of all experience in your reality, experienced with ease, with joy, with creative effortlessness. Red, green, blue, body, mind, spirit. The simple relaxation technique that brings you to the next stage of this exercise, which is what we call your place of perfect peace. Imagine, now that you are feeling this vibration of support, imagine, if you will, letting go of that which simply does not belong to you, that you do not need. Giving yourself permission to let go. You now find in your imagination that you will create whatever to you is your representation of your place of perfect peace. It might be a mountaintop, it might be a meadow, it might be day, it might be night, it might be cold, it might be warm. Whatever it is, create it now. This is your place, your sanctuary. However you want it to look, create it in your imagination, in your dimension of reality, your place of perfect peace. There may be beautiful, fluffy clouds in the sky. There may be the beautiful songs of birds or the bubbling of mountain streams. Or it may be the austere beauty of the surface of your moon, Whatever it is doesn't matter, as long as you know that it represents and symbolizes to you your place of perfect peace, so that you know that when you are here, all is right with the world, and all is as it needs to be, and that you, in this place, are who you actually are who you really are. Relaxed, creative, at ease, loving life, loving yourself, loving all that is, loving everything around you, engaged, curious, vibrant, alive, alert, like a child with curiosity and imagination and playfulness. These are the gifts to you of your place of perfect peace. This is your center, expressed as an environment. This is your ideal self, expressed as a place of perfect peace, perfect knowing, perfect being. Now, from this place, you will know, no matter what thoughts may come in, no matter what skepticism you may have from time to time, no matter what doubts you may entertain, for now, just for now, you will know that when you are in your place of perfect peace, you are at the correct frequency to receive what you need to receive, whatever that may be and in whatever form it may need to come. In your place of perfect peace, your peace is perfectly placed. And you are on the right wavelength for whatever you require. That is the gift of your place of perfect peace. And now, regarding the idea of the accessing of information, we will begin from your place of perfect peace, in your place of perfect peace, to allow you to stretch your senses in the following important generalized domains. Each general domain will represent a number of specific bits of information that in the future you may wish to access along any specific route you so desire, but for now, the ability to know that you can enter the general domain will allow you to know that the doorways to information are always open to you, and that whatever you want to explore in that domain is up to your intentional direction. So, continuing on, in your place of perfect peace now, create it for yourself, breathe easily into it, be there, be in your place of perfect peace. And in that place of perfect peace, imagine the following interaction. Imagine, if you will, either on the ground before you or floating out in front of you, or however you wish to imagine it, being held in your hand, or whatever is, in your estimation, representative of how your place of perfect peace works. Imagine some kind of stone. Big or small is up to you. Stone. Now, ask permission of the stone to know the stone. And imagine that you have received permission from the stone to know the stone and all things of the mineral domain. Imagine now that as you receive this permission, and you can work this either way, the stone either grows or you shrink. in either way, to such a degree that you now begin to see the actual molecular structure of the stone. You are now smaller than the molecules, or they are bigger than you are. And you see the atoms of all the minerals that make up the stone, each atom being like unto a giant sphere of energy. But it is specifically the atoms of the stone, of the minerals, of the elements in the mineral domain. Move in between the spaces into the heart of the stone until you believe you are literally at the very heart, the very center of the stone, of the latticework, of the matrix, of the atomic structure. Feel the vibrations of the stone all around you, penetrating you. Match their frequency. Harmonize in lockstep to the kingdom of the stone, to the queendom of the stone, to the domain of the stone, of the mineral domain. You feel the vibration of all the stone formation, small and large, pebble, mountain. All the forms it takes are yours to know, to have, to hold, to be, to live, to breathe, to see. You and the stone are in a relationship. You and the stone are breathing together. You and the stone are consciousness acting in concert. You and the stone, you and the stone, you and the stone are one, are one, are one. Feel the qualities of the stone, the weight, the density. Feel the qualities of the stone. Feel them in your body. You are like unto the stone. You know the ages eternal. You are extremely fast and hard and patient and forever. You change your shape from stone to dust and back again to mountain top, to planet, to asteroid, and come back to the stone. Anything you now need to know about the mineral domain is yours to explore by entering this door. You and the stone are one. Come out of the stone and let it shrink, or you grow, until it is once again as it was before, in front of you as the stone it was. Extend your gratitude and thanks to the stone being for sharing itself with you and for agreeing to be in relationship with you. Anything you need to know about the mineral kingdom, now all you have to do is conjure up your stone friend and ask and explore. Now allow the stone to vanish and transform into a plant, a flower, a tree, whatever it needs to be. Allow yourself to greet the plant and recognize the consciousness. Allow yourself to feel the sweetness of the flower and the tree. Allow yourself to feel the moistness and aliveness, but the different time frame and perception of reality. Ask permission of the plant to know the plant, and imagine and feel that permission is freely granted, joyfully granted, and that you are invited in. Feel yourself again shrinking, or the plant enlarging beyond all bounds, until once again you are dwarfed by the molecular structure, the complexity, the variety, the structures, the to and fro of the water in the plant, the vibrant stems and saps, the lifeblood, the fluid, the consciousness and awareness of the flower, of the tree, of the grasses. Go to the heart of the plant inside the atomic structure and feel the vibration of nurturing and feel the nature that surrounds you and be one with that frequency. Feel the green. Feel the life bursting within the seeds, the potentiality of all the branches and roots that anchor you firmly to the ground and allow you to reach to the stars of any branch of information that you require. And know the language of the wind in the leaves and the branches of the trees and the grasses upon the plains and the multicolored flowers of every garden on the earth in your place of perfect peace.